Among kings and commoners, cheating on love is a high-risk game and very much in vogue. A telling barometer is the exponential growth of cheating websites, and polls revealing the extent of extramarital affairs. So what are the rules of marriage when infidelity seems like the new normal? In a moment, meet renowned author and expert on science and marriage, Dr. Sue Johnson, who argues that despite the trends, humans are actually hardwired for monogamy. As we explore the question, are humans fit for fidelity? This is Context, a look at life beyond the headlines.
Monogamy. Is it out of date, or are we in fact wired for long-term love relationships? And our first guest on this is psychologist Sue Johnson. She is the author of Love Sense, the revolutionary new science of romantic relationships. Welcome, Dr. Sue Johnson, to Context. Thank you. So good to have you here. Great. Wow, you've done so much research on marriage, on love, on relationships.
Yes.
What are the reasons people give for cheating?
Well, that's kind of interesting question, because I think if you look at the media, what the impression you would get is that the main reason people would give for cheating is that somehow being in a long-term relationship, you're inevitably bored out of your mind in bed. And so you have to go and seek variety. But actually, if you really listen to couples, and we've seen a lot of couples over the last 30 years and done a lot of research projects, and we have people working all over the world. Overwhelmingly, the reason people give for cheating is that they can't find a way to connect with their partner. If you like, they cheat out of loneliness more than lust.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it makes sense because we haven't really understood love. We haven't helped people make sense of love, so we're not terribly good at it.
Vancouver's Dhruv Dhawan is campaigning for this new movie on the future of monogamy. And listen to what he's hearing on pro and con on monogamy.
And if I told you that I was ready to get married and I was in a relationship, but the vow of sexual fidelity might not be there in our marriage, how would you react to that?
You know, it's your life and it's your decision, but I would just advise you that, Dhruv, then you're asking for a lot of pain.
For biologists, one of the great mysteries is sex. It's because there are enormous numbers of disadvantages associated with reproducing sexually.
Did you ever cheat on me?
Tell us, when you are getting married?
This whole time I've just been trying to see if we can have an open relationship.
Biologically, we are not prepared for monogamy, whereas our culture tells us that monogamy is something we should do.
How do you describe loving someone then?
Sexual fidelity is a basic tenet of marriage. You can't break that.
Sue, I obviously, to our viewers, know that I side with the mother, that it's just common sense. You cannot cheat on a marriage. Is monogamy natural common sense?
Well, common sense, that depends on your culture. But what I want to say is, I'm really interested in people saying that the evidence is that we're not wired for it. Because from my point of view, there's enormous amount of evidence that we absolutely are wired for it.
Okay, talk about that. What have we learned in science that says we
I can just give you a few things,
Okay.
One thing is our chemistry is wired for it, because when we make love, when we even think of someone we love or we're attached to, we get a little shot of oxytocin, which is called the cuddle hormone. It's also been called the molecule of monogamy. Okay, because when they give it to little tiny voles, you're not allowed to give it to people, okay, in research. When they give it to little tiny voles, if they give the voles more oxytocin, they cuddle and kiss and protect each other and mate a lot and stay with one person. And when they block it in the little tiny voles, the voles don't cuddle and don't kiss, and they go off and find all kinds of different mates to mate with, and they don't take care of their young. It's an amazing little hormone, and it's only found in mammals who bond when they mate and who rear their young together over a long period of time.
Okay, let's go back to our film and listen in on the struggle of being faithful and what some other experts are saying on that.
Really, the ones who gain by monogamy is not so much the women, but the men.
You don't want to get married. No, you don't want to get married. It's okay, man. It's all a hoax. No, I'm kidding.
And if you don't find the right people,
if you find the right person, it's great.
It's great.
It's great.
Some people seem to think that a ring around the finger will lead to a nerve block to the genitals.
Ask your father.
What percentage you think are really live by their vow?
This is a profound double standard. But that's the way natural selection works.
That's the consequence of sperm and eggs.
I would say there are virtually no species that are sexually monogamous, except for those flatworms I mentioned, where the bodies literally meld together.
You can't draw analogies to non-humans. In most societies, sexual activity is so intense, so freighted with emotion and meaning, that having your partner have sex with somebody else threatens the relationship.
Families are being destroyed because of casual sexual friendships. And so I think that what's happening now is that on a social level, people are casting about for new models.
So, is it possible to love more than one person?
Yes. Love for one person does not subtract from love for another person. It's not a checkbook. There's a lot of love.
I mean, like, sometimes do you have a feeling that is it? She is more special?
I don't think it's possible to really transcend sexual jealousy.
I don't agree with it. I think you're talking about betrayal.
You can't want to revolutionize marriage. It's an institution.
There are a lot of people who aren't in the institution and they want a loyal marriage, any kind of faithful relationship. What would you say to that idea of can monogamy be broken up with all kinds of exploration?
We've made an astounding mistake in that we've actually believed Freud, who said that the most basic instinct in man is sex. So what I'm saying from all this new research on love is the most basic instinct in man is to bond with another person. If you put sex in the context of bonding, mating and bonding go together. And, you know, I think when we forget that somehow we put sex in some other category and we say it's just like any other behavior. It's just like any other behavior, and why shouldn't you have sex with all kinds of people? Well, you can have sex with all kinds of people. That's totally up to you. The issue is if you want to have a secure bond and have sex with all kinds of people, my experience is it just doesn't work that way. It's not, for me, it's not a moral issue. I'm a scientist and a therapist. It's about what works.
Okay.
It just doesn't work.
Okay, your book, Love Sense, is actually a home run for my book club. So I invite our viewers at home to stay tuned to learn how you can win your free copy. So discussing this subject on the set in Studio 42 holds special meaning for our Sheldon Neal. Sheldon.
Yes, it certainly does, Lorna. It was actually on the set not long ago, a little tidbit of information for all of us in the studio. Actually proposed to my now bride-to-be, Alicia, on this very set. At the start of 2013, it was a magical experience. And this is actually true. Tears, it was wonderful. And yes, in case you people at home wonder just what happens during our commercial breaks here at Context, now you know. And being engaged, I would like to ask you, Dr. Johnson, a question. What advice would you give to others who are thinking, I mean, I already made that step myself, but to others who may be watching and thinking of making that step to get married, what would you say to them?
I think I'd give them a very hopeful message. I'd say to them, we're starting to understand more and more about love. It's not random. It's not something you just have to fall into and fall out of. And we know so much about how to create secure bonds now that, you know, you can fall in love with your sweetie and make those vows and know that if you get stuck in your relationship, that you can read books about it, read studies about it, and go find a therapist who will help you keep that bond and make that bond stronger and stronger as the years go by.
Okay, well, now it's time for you, Sheldon, to pop another question, this time to our friends at home.
Yes, and well, I don't know if I have to get down on one knee specifically for this one, but we're hearing great advice. Thank you so much for that. Our question to you at home is this. Should polygamy be made legal for those who choose it? As you can see, there are many ways to contact us there on the screen, and we read and listen to every question.
Well, what does it take to make love work? So stay tuned for more on the new science of love and relationships with Dr. Sue Johnson. Thank you. You made a wonderful...